Tournament of Champions.
The lower seeds that have been eliminated: number 5, Kevin Davis; number 4, Joe Stella; and number 3, Bob Anderson, who was ousted last week by the first bowler you will meet this afternoon. He is the number 2 seed from Lynn, Massachusetts, Joe Tavernese.
And another crowd favorite. They love the North Shore bowlers here on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Joe Tavernese coming in with an average of 124. High single of 207, one of the few bowlers to have a high single over 200. High triple is 484. Metro Bowl, Peabody, Massachusetts. Not only does he bowl there, he works there, and pretty much that's his life.
And our number 1 seed is no stranger to WNDS TV. As a matter of fact, he's been in the Tournament of Champions before. He is Gary Santora from Auburn, Massachusetts.
Gary's having another really good year with an average of 128. High single 193. Gary Santora's high triple is 466, bowling in a couple of different houses this year. Colonial Lanes in Worcester that we've talked about the last couple of weeks, and T-Bird Lanes in Auburn as well.
Have we talked about Worcester?
Oh, we have.
I really hadn't noticed. It is Gary Santora against Joe Tavernese, the championship match. Let's get right to it as we continue with Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. We'll be right back after this. Well, horse players are always interested in the favorite, and thus far the favorite has prevailed. As you see, the 5 men who started this series, Kevin Davis, Joe Stella, and Bob Anderson, have been eliminated. It's Joe Tavernese taking on Gary Santora as we begin this championship match at Leda Lanes in Nashua. Joe Tavernese first to bowl. Already, there it goes, and some more will go. Don't turn your back on the pins.
And he's got a clear shot at the 610. Both pieces of wood now have gotten out of the way. He can make it nice and cleanly. Whoops.
Threw it past it. Joe threw a 378 last week in defeating Bob Anderson. 378 to 344, and he starts out with a 10 bucks. Winner of this match will join Scott Creighton and Mike Poulin in the Tournament of Champions.
$1,000 too for all those after Christmas sales this week.
High, low jack, 1-7-10 with some wood on the deck. Lots of wood.
This is a give me, isn't it, Dick? Can't miss this.
I guess you can.
Wow.
Wherever you may be watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes in our broad viewer area, we'd like to hear from you. Send a card or a letter to Candlepin Stars and Strikes, WNDS TV, 50 Television Place, Derry, New Hampshire, 03038. And Gary Santora puts one right in the pocket and leaves a very solid 9-pin with some wood. And Gary Santora opens with a mark. Got a nice note here from Kenneth Gove Jr. from Exeter, New Hampshire. Mr. Gove has written us before, I believe. The name sounds really familiar. He'd like to know why the cameras don't show the barrel with the cards in it at the end of the show.
We don't?
We do. The camera was on it today for sure. Last week, I know it was. And obviously he doesn't trust you, Mike.
You think I'm pulling things out of my pocket?
Absolutely, positively. And Mr. Gove also writes, where is Tom Olstock? As Gary Santora puts a couple of marks back to back to start out.
We haven't seen Tom. Not really sure how active he's bowling. Don't think he's come to any of our roll-offs recently. So the answer is we don't know.
And where are some of the old bowlers? In particular, Mr. Gove says Charlie Jutras and some of the others that were on Channel 5 years ago. We'd like to see him back too.
You know, it would be great to do a seniors show. You've got the senior golf tournaments. Nice shot.
There's a great spare by Joe Tavernese. As he responds, you get the 5, 7, and 10 with the wood. He played it perfectly. As Gary Santora opened with a couple of marks, Tavernese responded with a very clutch spare. And he'll put 7 in the spare.
Although I think if we did a seniors tournament, we'd have to bump the age up over 50 because The average age of our bowlers over the last couple of years has been about 37. Both men today in their 40s. In fact, these two bowlers are only 5 months apart in age, both at 44 years.
Joe not able to convert the spare that time. He will take a 10 box. Very lively crowd, as you can tell, here at Leda Lanes for this championship match. The crowds have been big all season. As a matter of fact, for the last couple of seasons at Leda Lanes. And we can't give enough credit to Ray Simoneau and Sean Howard and the staff at Leda Lanes for everything they do to accommodate the crowd. From the elevated bleachers to the coffee and donuts that they put out in the morning for the early arrivals, and some arrive very early. Very early. We start taping usually around 10 o'clock, and some people are here 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. Gary Santora with a 6 box after putting 3 in the spare.
Guess we could give him the next date for taping, huh? For those who'd like to come watch the mixed doubles action. Tuesday, the 11th of January. That's January 11th, Tuesday. We'll start at about 10 o'clock or so with 4 shows, mixed double format.
Gary Santora looking for a mark, will not convert it. Gary bowls at Colonial in Worcester, which is the last standing establishment in the city of Worcester. When there used to be 20 or more, at least 20 we came up with a couple of weeks ago.
I'll tell you what, the surviving bowling centers today are all doing pretty well. Less competition. They've become innovative on entertaining the kids' birthday parties are really a big staple of weekend bowling activity. There's an idea for your kids. No muss, no fuss. They get tokens. They get free bowling. You know, for the video games, they get the tokens. You get some food. A couple hours you don't have to clean up. It's a great time.
And for the younger kids, they have the bumpers that they put in the gutters now.
It's an innovation that came along, I think, in the 80s, or at least became popular in the 80s.
A 9 box for Joe Tavernese.
Well, is there enough wood to work with there, Dick? Is the angle correct? Get your protractor out.
That's a nice shot by Joe Tavernese to pick up the spare. Second mark of the string for Tavernese. Gary Santora also has 2. We have $775 in our triple strike jackpot. We'd love to give it away for 3 strikes in a row. $40 now in the bonus ball contest at the end of the match. Send in a postcard with your name, address, and pick a number from 0 to 10. And 10 is doable. We had a 10 last week as Joe Tavernese rolled a strike in the bonus ball contest. Send in your postcard with your name, address, and that number to Leda Lanes, 340 Amherst Street, Nashua, New Hampshire, 03063. We'll put it in the bin. We'll take a good wide shot of the bin so that you can see that Mike Morin is not tinkering. Nothing up your sleeve, right?
No, and I would never tinker on television. Let me just publicly state that.
Gary will be open in the 5th frame. And in the 6th frame.
Well, he started with a flourish with a couple of spares. Since then, hasn't been able to sniff a mark. Joe Tavernese has just been kind of sauntering in and out with open frames. He's got 2 marks, working on 1 now in the 7th frame.
Little thin in the pocket, but he put 6 in the mark. He has a 9-pin lead at this point of the match. Missed the spare. Contrast in styles. Joe approaches it from a much sharper angle. Coming to the line, Gary Santora, more of a straight-on bowler. talking with Joe last week after the match about his life with bowling. That is his life. He manages a bowling alley, bowls for a hobby, bowls for relaxation, bowls competitively, bowls professionally, teaches bowling, lives bowling, eats bowling, and sleeps bowling.
It pretty much covers it, doesn't it?
Bowling has been good to Joe Tavernese, I would say, and Joe has been very good to bowling.
One of the more likable bowlers, as most of them really are.
8 box, 89. The thing that I've noticed, I think it's really jumped out at me over the last 3 years that we've been doing this, is the relationship that the bowlers all have with each other. They all know each other very well. They travel the same circuit, and they really all do get along very well. They root for each other. Here's Gary Santora with a strike.
Well, it's a pretty small fraternity of men and women in the Candlepin professional ranks, so circles do run close, and they genuinely do care for each other.
Now Gary looks for 2 in a row. He grabbed the head pin, but leaves himself a split. That'll make the match just about even. Almost pulled off the spare. Put 9 in the strike. And give Gary Santora a 1-pin lead. Now a 2-pin lead over Joe Tavernese with 2 boxes remaining in the first string.
Back in October, Joe Tavernese finished 6th in the WCBC stop at Park Place Lanes in Wyndham. Tournament won by Chris Sargent.
Strike for Joe Tavernese in the 9th frame. Watch it one more time. Get a good look at this one. Crossed over to the Brooklyn side. Great action. The 9-pin, the last to go. And the strike for Joe Tavernese is his 3rd mark of the first string. 775 for 3 in a row. Wow.
Well, that was
grabbed
a
the pocket
hit.
And look what's there. Still 6 pins standing. How does that happen? Well, he gave it a shot. Puts 8 in the strike. He is at 115 at the moment. It'll be 116 first string for Joe Tavernese. Gary Santora will need a mark to match up with Joe Tavernese in the first string. He missed the head pin, but he got a pretty good fall with the 1 and the 10 still standing. The wood will not be a factor. Well, maybe it will be as it rolls over to the 10 pin. Yeah, it will be.
And it'll stay there, so he'll have best results shooting it on the inside for the deflection.
Oh, he missed the head pin. That was key. Where the wood was irrelevant to that shot.
Even a 10-pin ball wouldn't have taken that one out.
Same spot, an 8 box for Gary Santora. He's at 99.
Mark an 8 is what he needs now to win the first match, with 2 more to go for the $1,000 top prize and seeding in the Tournament of Champions.
Which, of course, is a consideration when you talk about the winning score for seeding in the Tournament of Champions. We'll talk more about that as we get into it. Gary picks up a spare in the 10th frame, so this match will be virtually even going to the 2nd string. A 7 will tie it, and 8 will give Gary the lead. And a 10 will give Gary even a bigger lead. So put the strike in the spare, give him a 119, a 3-pin lead for Gary Santora as we head to string number 2 of this championship match on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. We're going to come back to Leda Lanes right after this on WNDS TV. Gary Santora steps to lane 34 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, as we begin the 2nd string of this championship match of the third ladder series on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Dick Lutz with Mike Moore and our entire WNDS TV crew. Our director, Ken Knight. Kevin LaFawn working graphics. Larry Taylor's on audio. Our engineer is Paul Hunter. Dave McCarthy has the replay machine, and the Crackerjack camera crew of Bob Dold, Dave Hand, and Jim McLean, all making it possible for you to enjoy Candlepin Stars and Strikes every week on WNDS TV. Gary Santora starts out with a 10-box.
Gary was the 1996 Massachusetts State Men's Classic Doubles Championship winner with Rob Burkeel back 3 seasons ago, and rated number 10 in the WCBC just 2 seasons ago.
And he strikes in the second frame of this second string. Watch it again. This one was not out of the textbook. A little bit slow in happening. The 5-pin wobbling and then going.
Yeah, that 4-pin fell the wrong way.
Joe Tavernese tried to answer. He's got wood in front. The piece of wood away out in front is a factor. Going to have to play that to the, ooh, he played it to the other side. No, he didn't play it at all. He went by it. That was the shot. I didn't know if he was going to be able to actually get the ball by that piece of wood out front.
Well, he went to the angle because the pin was frozen in the back, fortunately. Otherwise, he would have run the risk of wrapping it around and leaving it.
On the spare, Tavernese puts in 8.
Get off to a fast start here and really tighten this match up.
We're looking to give away $775 in the triple strike jackpot as well. Tavernese missed the spare. He will take a 9-box. Now Gary Santora working on a strike.
You mentioned Gary on the Tournament of Champions. He was the number 5 seed this past year. Lost to number 4 seed Sean Baker, 367 to 349 back on April 25th this year. So he's been in the big money matches, including today, with $1,000 up for grabs.
Gary tries to convert the spare. Will it go? No, it will be too far in front. He'll put 9 in the strike. And take a 10-box. You like Chinese food, Michael, don't you?
I love it, and I love it at the Kahala.
You love it at the Kahala, one of the new selection menus at the menu selections, I should say, at the Kahala House Special War Bar, which combines chunks of lobster meat, chicken, shrimp, and roast pork, mixed with special Chinese vegetables, mushrooms, bamboo shoots, water chestnuts, in a delicious sauce served over a sizzling hot platter. Doesn't that just sound wonderful? Wow. At the Kahala Chinese Restaurant and Lounge right next door to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, they have a wonderful luncheon buffet Monday through Saturday from 11:45 to 2 p.m. and the dinner buffet from Thursday from 5 to 8 and Sunday from noon to 8 p.m. It's all you care to eat, and it is wonderfully prepared in a delightful atmosphere. And if you're out shopping in Nashua, if you're out having fun in the Gate City, if you're bowling at the Leda Lanes, right next door to Leda Lanes is the Kahala Chinese Restaurant and Lounge. We'd invite you to stop by and enjoy Chinese food at its best as Joe Tavernese puts a strike on the board. Watch it one more time. Tavernese right on the nose that time with the 4-pin, the last to go. The Kahala is open daily at 11:30 a.m. for delicious Chinese and Polynesian cuisine. Stop by the Kahala in Nashua.
And on a number of nights during the week, they have entertainment, karaoke, live bands occasionally. So there's something going on at night as well.
Joe fills the strike with a spare. He'll be going for bonus money next time he steps to the line when we come back from the break. Joe Tavernese has the lead over Gary Santora in this championship match or on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. We're back right after this. Gary Santora finds himself trailing Joe Tavernese by 5 pins plus a Tavernese spare fill. And Santora in the 5th frame. Tries to break up the split. The 5-pin moved over about 3 inches to the left, right in front of the 8.
You're not seeing double, folks. That is actually 2 different pins.
Playing the wood and not able to convert.
That'll be an interesting shot here.
He again tried to play the wood, I think, and didn't come up with it. A 7 box for Gary Santora. 56.5 for Gary.
Gary has a new position with Stratus Computers in Maynard. He is now a system administrator, which is an upgrade from what he was doing last time we saw him. So congratulations to that promotion. Likes the company a lot, he said.
Well, Gary's struggling over the last couple of boxes now. This will be his 4th straight open box. And he'll take an 8. 1 mark in the 2nd string for Gary Santora through 6 boxes. Now Joe Tavernese, the manager of the Metro Bowl in Peabody. On the head pin, breaks up the split, had a possible spread eagle there for a moment, but that broke up, and now he just has the 3 on the right. The 3, the 6, and the 10 with wood right out in front of it. Looking for $50 in bonus money. There it is.
Starting to pull away now from Gary Santora.
That's our first bonus money check of the afternoon. 50 bucks for Joe Tavernese, and he'll try to add 25 more here. 6 in the spare.
An 80 half. A great start.
Missed it. $10 box for Joe Tavernese. He has opened up a 23-pin lead in the match over Gary Santora. Now Santora looking to get back on track. He needs to throw some marks. There he goes with a strike. Slow motion. I thought that last pin was going to dance a little bit and not go down, but it finally decided to fall. And that would have been the 8 pin, I believe. It was the 8 pin, and there it goes. It almost got kicked back up.
Spun around 180 degrees before it finally went down. Looking for the double right here, but he gets that double trouble is what it is. The spread eagle, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 10.
Mrs. R. Hayes from Stoneham, Massachusetts writes to us, Michael, I enjoy your bowling, have bowling hour very much. I've enjoyed bowling practically all my life. I'm 78 years old. My father was in the bowling alley business all around the South Shore and North Shore. He would refurbish them like they were new. He was an excellent southpaw bowler, big scorer. My older brother and I would set up pins at 3 cents a string, and their mother would put leather patches on their pants so they wouldn't get splinters. It was hard work but fun. She started bowling in 1930 in Weymouth at the Weymouth Landing Alleys and kept at it until she was 70 years old. Mrs. Hayes, thank you very much for your note. As Joe puts a mark on the board.
It's amazing to think that the teenagers were setting pins back in the 20s and 30s for pennies a pin. And now, of course, the child labor laws protect that kind of thing.
Mrs. Hayes puts a P.S. on there that her pa was always called Dutchie. So for those of you who've been around a while and remember Dutchie refurbishing bowling lanes in Massachusetts, that's his daughter who wrote us. And that's a shot by Joe Tavernese right there. A couple of marks in a row for Joe. Watch it kick off the wall and clean him up.
6 marks and 8 frames for Joe Tavernese. Gary Santora finds himself a couple of marks behind. Almost
and
3
Gary
marks.
with a spread eagle, working on a strike.
That's back-to-back spread eagles. He had a spread eagle on the last strike that he threw. Well, needs to find the head pin a little less than dead on center. Easy for us to dispense that advice, but that in essence is what you need to do, like that.
Didn't get a break as the pin went flying by. That 7-pin just didn't quite grab it. Gary will take the spare in the 10th frame. Just barely, but it still counts.
Yep.
So he's at 108 plus a ball. Trying to keep Joe Tavernese in his sights. Joe's making it difficult. Right on the head pin, Gary Santora puts a 6 in the spare. A 114 second string for Gary Santora. He's at 233 through 2. Joe Tavernese is at 232 plus a ball with 2 boxes to go. Well, he can really do some damage here, but he's on the head pin and he cannot break the split, but the wood is favorable. This is a $50 shot for Joe Tavernese right here.
Well, the wood is perfect, isn't it?
Looks to be at a pretty fair angle. There it is. $50 more in bonus money. He has $100 in the match.
That's his second string of $50 bonus money runs that he's had just in this game.
7 marks in the string.
Yep.
Missed the head pin. 6 goes in the spare. He is at 145 right now. Missed the head pin. He'll be open in the 10th frame. He's at 148. 148 it is for Joe Tavernese. A 31-pin lead for Tavernese as we head to the 3rd and final string of this championship match of our 3rd ladder series. It's Tavernese leading Gary Santora. 1 string to go on Candlepin Stars and Strikes from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire on WNBS TV. A 31-pin lead for Joe Tavernese heading into the final string of this championship match with Gary Santora. The winner gets $1,000 and a berth in the Tournament of Champions at the end of the season. And Tavernese first to bowl in the 3rd string. Thin hit, good action afterwards. The 7 and the 10 still standing with some wood. Got to play the wood and take your chances here. Well, he sent the wood sprawling all over the place, but it didn't take the 7-pin. 10 box for Tavernese to start out.
What I mentioned, coming up in a few weeks, the WCBZ resumes its touring schedule in January at the Stacia Zernike Memorial Invitational Tournament, Lucky Strike Lanes in Lynn, Saturday, January 8th and 9th, coming up very soon. Women, if you've got an average of 102 or higher, men 112 or higher, you're eligible for all the prize money available. That includes all bowlers in the past who might like to rejoin the WCBC Tour. Get in touch with Dottie Lawrick here in New Hampshire at 603-888-5592 for the Stacia Zernike Memorial Invitational coming up in memory of the late Stacia Zernike, of course.
Couple of 10s for Joe Tavernese. Opening up the 3rd string, and Gary Santora with an opening. With 2 open frames, Gary can eat up some of that deficit. The 1, the 2, and the 10. Watch out. Will it go? It'll surround it, but not knock it down. Matching Tavernese 10 to open the 3rd string.
Gary's hobbies include ice hockey, and in the warmer months, golf and water skiing.
Once again, a split. The wood will roll off. There's wood on the deck, 1 piece. It's going to have to factor in here somehow. He tried to bank it off the wall, couldn't do it. So he will be open for the first 2 boxes of the 3rd string. They match 10s. The lead remains 31 for Joe Tavernese. Boy, the same thin hit he had the last time that left the 7 and 10. This time, a real potpourri of pins on the deck.
But those thin hits are keeping him from having these awful-looking splits that Gary Santora has been facing today. Spread eagles and some of the other terrible combinations.
10 box for Tavernese, 3 straight 10s for Joe.
Our winner today, of course, $1,000 and $50 to spend at Haverhill Beef Company in Haverhill. Joe Terrazzano's wonderful establishment that will dress up your holiday occasion with a deli platter, perhaps some marinated meats, some chops, some steaks, and other great goodies to make holiday or any time feeding your company or your family a lot of fun at a good price. And we're talking the old-fashioned kind of butcher shop. I mean, Joe doesn't put his thumb on the scale, not that old-fashioned, but certainly more personalized service with custom cut meats if that's what you need. Haverhill Beef Company, check it out today.
Are you a gourmet cook, Michael?
I like to cook, but I don't flatter myself as being
not gourmet. Huh?
I have a few recipes that I do reasonably well. My daughter's favorite is meatloaf for some reason. Comes home from college, that's what she wants.
You know, Joe is consistent, if nothing else, in the 3rd string. 4 straight 10s for Joe Tavernese. And Gary Santora cannot let the opportunity pass. He needs to put a mark or 2 on the board. This time he's got an opportunity as he breaks up the split, and he'll have the 3, the 6, and the 10 with no wood. And he'll not make it.
Well, just
the 3.
Not there today, is it?
A lesson in pinning by both bowlers. Look at all the 10s on the score sheet in front of you.
It's amazing, isn't it? That's how good these guys are.
Well, ironically, that was his worst first ball. But he has a shot to make a spare.
That's right. All the times he's hit the head pin. This time he doesn't. And has a very makeable spare in the 9 and the 10 with about a half dozen pieces of wood out on the deck.
And there it goes. The spare for Gary Santora as we go to the break. Santora eats into some of that lead that Joe Tavernese built up after 2. 6 boxes remain in this championship match. And we'll get right to it when we come back to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Joe Tavernese leads Gary Santora by 31 pins. Santora has an extra ball when he comes to the line next, but it's Tavernese's turn on lane 34 in the 5th frame. That break did him good, didn't it?
That's one of the fastest strikes I think I've ever seen.
He buried it in the 1-3 pocket, no doubt about it. Had a little extra zip to it, didn't it?
It did. That's exactly it. He had a bit of a lob to it, but it was a legal shot.
Tavernese spread eagle.
The dreaded spread eagle. We've seen that plenty of times today.
Takes 3 on the left. And 2 on the right. First pin left standing by Joe Tavernese in his 3rd string. He's at 66 through 6. Now Gary Santora needs to put a couple of marks together. He's got 1, and this will fill that spare with a strike.
Well, things get a little more interesting now as Gary Santora gets 10 pins back.
So Gary cuts 10 pins off of that lead. Looking for bonus money here. A little bit thin, but a makeable shot.
2 and the 7 with wood appears to be frozen against the 2-pin.
$50 shot for Gary Santora will not make it.
Too direct. But he's up against the 9 box with Joe Tavernese, so nothing lost. In fact, 1 pin gained back. And now the lead is cut to 18 for Joe Tavernese with 4 frames to go.
Not insurmountable.
Not at all. Should make for an interesting finish. Don't go away, folks.
Tavernese responds with a good pocket shot, and the wood sets up nicely in front of it. I dare say you could make this shot, Michael. 7 out of 10 times.
Just so complimentary.
The spare for Tavernese's second mark of the 3rd string, which makes it a little bit more difficult for Gary Santora to come back. Let's see what he puts in the spare. Missed the head pin. 4 horsemen left side, right side.
Congratulations to winners of the last WCBC Pro Tournament held back in November at Scarborough Lanes in Maine. For the men, Steve Vadney was the winner with 1280. And for the women, Joanne Rosano with a 1228. Congratulations to both those bowlers. Told you about the Stacia Zernicke Invitational coming up in a few weeks in Lynn at Lucky Strike Lanes, January 8th and 9th.
9 box for Tavernese, 91 through 8. Another opportunity for Gary Santora. If he can put a couple of marks together here, he could make things very interesting.
Well, he's leaving makeable spares, and that's the key. He hasn't left a pin standing yet this game.
He missed that one. Knew it as soon as it left his hand.
He turned at the line, twisted his body to the right. Didn't help. So he'll lose 6 pins in that frame against Joe Tavernese's spare 6. But he has an opportunity now to pick up a little bit as Joe has an open frame in the 8th.
Another makeable spare for Gary. And he'll make it. This one he makes.
I think Mike Poulin's 412 top seeding in the Tournament of Champions is safe, at least for this ladder, but we've got a couple more to go before the final seedings are complete. Mike Poulin at 412, Scott Creighton at 349. Joe Tavernese. Both these bowlers will be beyond 349, but who's going to win is still the question.
Joe needs to mark to really put Gary Santora away. If he doesn't, then Gary will have an opportunity, albeit a long distance opportunity. It'll be an opportunity.
Well, Gary slams another strike in there, and suddenly we're within a mark.
Nine box for Tavernese. He's at 100 through 9. 364. His 3-string total to this point with a box to go. One got away from him at the line, bounced a little bit.
It's the 1, 3, 8, and the 9.
Tough shot.
Double wood in the 3, 9.
Not made by Joe Tavernese. He will be open in the 10th frame. So the door is open a little bit for Gary Santora. 10 box, 110, 374 for Joe Tavernese. Let's see if Gary Santora now can take advantage. It can be done. Needs a big fill here. 9 will be the fill with wood in front. And a mark for Gary Santora. All right, let's do the math here, Michael.
28, 140. Well, he needs
23, 24 pins.
Needs 142 to win.
A little thin hit. Pretty good fall.
He'll need this.
He needs this spare.
And a 7-pin fill.
He needs this spare. Missed it. Gave it a great shot, but he missed it. Joe Tavernese will win. Gary gave it a great run, didn't he? What a terrific finish for Gary Santora. He finishes with a 134 and a three-string total of 367. Tavernese wins by 7 pins. And Tavernese earns a berth in the Tournament of Champions at the end of the year, and we're back to meet our bowlers when we come back to Leda Lanes on WNDS TV's Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
A terrific championship match here at Leda Lanes as Joe Tavernese withstands the late challenge from Gary Santora and defeats Gary Santora 374 to 367. How about another round of applause for our two finalists for the great show they put on here this afternoon. Just a great match, and Joe Tavernese had to watch Gary Santora at the end. Gary almost pulled it out.
Watching Gary Santora today kind of reminded me of watching the Red Sox here late last season in the playoffs. Almost getting there, but running out of time and losing by less than 10 pins. So it was a close call, but guess what? Gary will be back.
And Joe Tavernese will advance to the Tournament of Champions at the end of the season. More about that in a minute. But first, let's bring out our runner-up in this afternoon's match from Auburn, Massachusetts, Gary Santora. Gary, congratulations. Great effort, great finish. The last couple of boxes were right down to the wire.
Yeah, I thought the last one was going to go, but I think the wood killed it. Just a little too late.
One of the things that we've learned about Candlepin bowling is, boy, you never can tell what'll happen with that wood on the deck. When it looks like it's going to go, it doesn't go. When it doesn't look like it's going to go, son of a gun, something will happen.
Right. It's very unpredictable.
And we saw this afternoon. Now, as you were facing the deficit in the third string, was there a time when you were thinking that you were out of the match, or did you really think you had a shot right down to the wire?
Not really. I was never really that far down, and the last four, he left the door open for me. Just couldn't go through it.
Well, it was a great performance by you, a real thrilling finish. We congratulate you, Gary Santora. A check for $500 for you, and we look forward to seeing you again on WNDS Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Gary Santora, our runner-up here this afternoon. A great finish for Gary, a great rush. And it set up a terrific climax, and our winner is Joe Tavernese. Joe, we'll have you roll a ball for our bonus ball contest. They're guessing 7. He surprised everybody last time and threw a 10. It is a 6.
You're not making it easy on me, Joe. Strike last week.
Let's see if we've got a 6
this time.
Get a good wide-angle shot of that bin. Show all the cards that are in there.
There's the bin, folks. You see, these are not coming out of my pocket. They're coming out of here.
Show that Mike has nothing up his sleeve.
That's right.
Nothing up his jacket. Nothing up his trousers.
Mike Morin, can't use that card.
Let's see. Here we go. This is Viola Gaffney of Salem, New Hampshire, and Viola picked 8. Viola gets the consolation prize from N&R Trophies in Winchendon, Massachusetts. And this is Pat Ball from Lawrence, Massachusetts. Pat wins 10 free strings of bowling from Leda Lanes for being the second card drawn out of the bucket. We bring Joe Tavernese in. Congratulations. I heard one of your friends yell out during the break that you had him all the way, right?
Oh, yeah, never in this game, I'll tell you. It comes on right to the last box, just like you saw right today. You know, I get up there, we did good. Gary come back. You never know.
In your experience of Candlepin bowling, you know that no lead is really safe in the third string. We've seen big leads fall apart with not a lot of boxes remaining.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. I mean, like I said, I mean, nothing's over till it's over right to the end. You never know in this game. Anything can happen.
We have a $50 gift certificate from Haverhill Beef. We have $100 in bonus money, a check for $1,000 for Joe Tavernese, and a berth in the Tournament of Champions coming up at the end of the season, a chance to win some more. So it's a great performance and a great opportunity.
It is. I have one thing to say, though, to my non-believers over at the Venice. I did it, huh?
See you later.
Joe, thanks very much. We look forward to seeing you. Take care. Joe Tavernese, our winner here this afternoon, and it sets up a new round.
It does. We're going to start a brand new year, a new century, and a new millennium next week with mixed doubles for 4 weeks. Hope you can join us then.
We will look forward to that. Hope you can be with us for mixed doubles coming up on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Congratulations to Joe Tavernese for winning this ladder series and gaining a berth in the Tournament of Champions at the end of the season. For Mike Morin and our entire WNDS TV 50 crew, I'm Dick Lusk. Thanks for watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Have a happy holiday, everybody. We'll see you next time.